Hey. We good, Sharon? Welcome, everybody, to the September 15th Town Council meeting. At this time, let the record read that the entire council is present. And now, if you will, join me in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the July 21st Town Council meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the August 29th informational work session.
So moved.
I did. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll go through these minutes and then I'll go back to it. Okay, approve, and thank you. Approval of the minutes of the August 29th informational work session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And lastly, approval of the minutes of the August 29th closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Now I'll go back. Is there any public comment on any item on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move forward. At this time, we're going to, Councilman Partica is going to present a proclamation for Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So the title of the proclamation is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Chesapeake Beach. Whereas September is recognized as Suicide Prevention Month, a time when millions of people around the world join their voices to raise awareness of suicide prevention, treatment, and recovery. And whereas this is a time that is dedicated to bringing visibility to the role everyone in the community can play in preventing suicide, and to encourage all community members to know the signs, find the words, and reach out to someone they are concerned about. And whereas the stigma associated with mental illness and suicidality continues to work against suicide prevention efforts by discouraging those at risk for suicide from seeking life-saving assistance, and further traumatizes survivors of suicide. And whereas education about the warning signs of suicide, the value of preventative measures, and the best methods to support those in need is essential to our community. And whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34, and fourth leading cause of death for those ages 25 to 45. And whereas the town of Chesapeake Beach encourages people to recognize that deaths by suicide are preventable and to take the time to understand the importance of mental health education and recognize that taking care of ourselves and others includes taking care of mental health. And whereas September has been recognized internationally and is supported by the World Health Organization as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Town Council do hereby proclaim the month of September 2022 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Chesapeake Beach.
Thank you, sir. Just a word. Yeah, suicide is something that, still in society, people don't want to talk about it. It happens all the time. It affects everybody. I mean, there's probably everybody in this room has either had either a family member or a friend of family affected by this. And I think it's important that the town, recognize this moving forward. And I also think that we should, let the folks know either in an email or newsletter. And what I like to do is just have a somber, if you will, picture of us with the proclamation, and we'll see if we if we care to use it or not. So if you guys don't mind, we'll get up front and just let Keith hold the proclamation, and we'll the camera out there.
I can take it. You are.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Brittany.
Mr. Mayor, may I make one more statement?
You have another one, or you?
Just want to add on to
Yeah, please,
this
sir.
is that
Mhm.
if you weren't aware, 988 is the recently established National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It was established back in July of this year. So just wanted to make folks aware of that, 988. And so they have counselors available if anyone is having a crisis of any kind or struggling with thoughts of suicide or mental health issues. You can call that number. And also Calvert County has their Calvert Crisis Response number here, 1-877-467-5628. And that is for crisis response as well. So suicide, mental health, and overdose, kind of issues. If you're struggling with addiction, you can also call that 9. And these issues are so intertwined: addiction, overdose, and suicide. But yeah, just wanted to add that on. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you. And the holidays are approaching, and we all know how difficult that is on everybody in a time of crisis. Okay. Town administrator's report. Holly is missing her first and only meeting in 6 years. So I would, and hopefully it'll be 6 more years before that happens again. If we have any questions of her report, council, please send Holly an email. Next, operations manager report. Differently, as we all know, Carl is about to bring another citizen into the world any hour now. A little girl. So if we do have any questions of her reports, send it over to Holly as well, and we'll get you an answer. Public Works report. We've read Jay's report. If we have any questions, starting with Councilwoman Bodine, we'll.
No, I have no questions for Jay.
Okay. Councilman Fink.
Yeah, I had a couple questions. Jay, the water breaks that you identified in the beginning, you were boldly predicting where some of these would be, and I'm wondering if these were where you predicted. Not, I'm actually kind of joking when I say that, but are they related to the electrolysis issue?
The one in Richfield, yes.
Yep.
The other ones were lateral failures in the lateral line, which happens here and there. There's different reasons, but the one in Richfield, definitely electrolysis.
Yep. Interesting. One other quick note for both you and Wayne. I still would love to see a copy of the punch list for the Heritage. I just haven't seen it. It's not like it's really for my own education. I'm not looking to meddle. I'm really just looking to learn, and I would love to see it. And I've been walking back there a lot, and I kind of noticed they were digging up new pavement to put in something, or maybe they were addressing a water break there. I don't know, but I thought to myself, wow, they just put this pavement down, and now they're digging it up again. I'm not looking for anything on that other than I'd just love to see the list to know kind of how you guys approach it.
Yeah, and just to answer that one specific question, they're adjusting utilities that the town will own right now that we've failed. We weren't able to access them, or they've been damaged. So that's what you see, the fresh pavement cut. That's one thing, but I'll share the list with you.
Thank you.
Councilman.
Yeah, I didn't have a question on your report, but I had something to add. I was asked by Chief Mills if the town could provide some advice to the fire department on if there's anything to do with the vegetation there along Bayside Road, between the parking lot and Bayside Road. It's beginning to interfere with sight lines of the apparatus coming out of the firehouse, so he's getting a little bit concerned about that. And also the same question would apply to that little creek that runs between the firehouse and the mini shopping center there. If there's any advice that you can give to me, I'll pass it along to him.
I'll save you real quick because we met on that before. That's actually all owned by the state, and it's so we have to reach out to them. I can reach out to Jeff and meet us out there again, but there's not a whole lot they're going to do with that area, is what I was told. But we can set up a meeting.
I would stress to them it's a public
Yes.
safety thing.
Yes.
It's not just visual, it's public safety.
Not
We've
aesthetics,
all seen
it's
how high that's,
safety, yeah.
has
That's
gotten
right.
out there. Thank you. That's all.
Agreed. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Morris,
Yes, no questions for Mr. Berry. Thank you.
Councilman Keith,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
I have one little question. And on item 4, the flushing that you did the Heritage Woods for the first time, did it go well?
That's where we found some of these discrepancies with some features that were broke, but we modified it to do it. And even though we haven't accepted any part of that project yet for the town to own, which hasn't even started our warranty period on the contractor, they're still town citizens paying the town water bill, living there for a while. So we went through there and flushed it, and it did go well. We developed a program, and way back when that project was developed, Paul Woodburn, who sat in Wayne's seat, we made some changes then to the plan to make it ready to flush and deal with issues. So actually, that part of it went great.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Water Reclamation Treatment Plant report. We've read Josh's report. If we have any questions, I'll begin with Councilwoman Hartman.
Yeah, I actually have a couple questions. There's a lot of practical analysis on the report. It was really interesting to read. Of course, leads to questions. On page 2, second paragraph, the difficulty repriming and the problem because of the heat. Is there anything that can be done? I mean, we're in a hot town. Mhm.
Exposed aggregate type tank on the exterior, so it's just heat the whole time, and it's a combination of chemical increasing the temperature in the vacuum, pump as it's lifting it, that their thought is that it's releasing the vapor, and that's what's causing the loss of prime.
There's no sort of shading thing you could do or anything like that. No. Drop it to 104. Thank you. And then on page 3, it mentions that the staff has increased their maintenance procedures. Have you noticed a result?
We have some, when I first started here, we were able to get 700 gallons a minute for the filters, and that was pretty much it. This recent storm we had Tuesday evening, we were at 1,600.
Very good.
And they seem to be doing well. It got to the point where they, I'm not gonna keep pushing it. I'm seeing good results here. So we're seeing a good improvement in the process.
Well done. And then on page 4, just to say good work on the identifying the increase in the phosphorus readings and sorting that out. I just thought it's wonderful to see, not just working your ship, but looking and changing.
The whole time we're out there trying to improve the process, reduce how much is going out to the page. Right now, we're at about 50% of where we were this time last year.
Fantastic.
We're doing something there.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman.
I don't have any specific questions. I just wanted to say, I had to open up a bottle of wine to kind of get through this. There was so much to read, but I really appreciate the due diligence you and your staff are doing. And I just wanted to kind of recognize as one item on from the second to the last page where y'all saw or discovered that we hadn't received service for the Fidelity generator, and that you've corrected that. So yeah, Very nice.
Try to communicate with them more. I did not like the quality of service.
Right.
So we're going to be researching.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith, on your recommendation of a libation. Do remember that there are 6 other people at the dais here if you if you care to help a sister and a brother out. Yeah.
Have a packet party.
Don't tempt us. Councilman Morris.
Sir, thank you. Sounding like we have a successful continuity in exchange leadership over there at the wastewater treatment plant. Certainly appreciate the report, and I'd like to echo some of the previous comments, thoroughness and such. I was wondering what sorts of testing is performed on the effluents? You kind of is the effluents tested at all for any contaminants? Like I'm notably, I was going to ask you about PFAS. I know that there's some places are trending to like test their effluents. You know, they're finding stuff like that in the sewer systems.
The state has to start mandating testing PFAS like that. Every year we go through our annual biomonitoring where we do a chemical analysis where they go through a laundry list of different chemicals that they test for. We also do a toxicity test where they actually test the effluent with 2 types of organisms that are found in sheep's head minnow and mice and shrimp. So that's something that's done annually. But as for regular testing that we do our regular nutrient testing and fecal testing. And that's per month. We have to do that weekly as we do our own in-house testing on a daily basis.
It's a dang good answer. Thank you.
Very good. Councilman.
As has been stated, thank you for the very detailed report. I truly enjoyed reading this. It took me back to my career days of reviewing reports like this. So thank you very much. And I just wanted to offer again, congratulations on no SSO spills or filter bypasses during the monthly report. Good job.
Yeah, just echo the it was a good report, and I didn't need wine to get through it because I found it. I found I could read it, not just Larry, so I was kind of happy with that. It's good.
With or without grapes?
I was better off without them. There were other reports where that,
Councilwoman?
Yeah, I just have a few quick things. First of all, thank you. It really is a thorough report, and this, it's really good, really well done. It's nice to know exactly what you've been up to. It's one of our larger expenses in town, obviously, and so this is really appreciated. I noticed that you threw in the word fabricated. That's really cool from last month. I do have a few questions. One is on the 3rd page, you discuss media. We've had discussions as a town council regarding media in the filters. It's the last paragraph on the 3rd page. And so how did that testing go, or is it too soon to know?
We got the results back, I believe it was the 9th. The results from that were a little bit better than what it was the first time around they did testing on there. The previous testing that they did in 2019, the primary contaminant in there was calcium.
Mhm.
This time around it's more phosphorus. We're working a plan into getting that work done, get the filters cleaned, and that should help increase the amount of flow we can put through there.
Will it also increase its longevity, its lifespan?
That is the hope. That's where we're going first because it's going to be very expensive to replace the media itself. So we're trying to stretch out as long as we can.
Shockingly so, I remember. And that's why I'm asking. Okay, moving on. It seems like you hired a new employee, so would you extend our welcome to Cody?
That's it.
Thank you. I noticed that. And then I can either wait until the engineer's report, or we can discuss it now because it's in both your reports, and specifically regarding looking at a plan for new, I think they're called headworks. And I remember the tour that y'all so graciously gave us looking at the headworks, and I can understand why they need to be improved upon, upgraded, or maintained. So I look forward to seeing those future plans. Is there a timeline or is it just in discussion?
It's in discussion and developing a concept plan at this point, and that'll be, Wayne would be able to expand on it further.
Okay, so I can hit him up in just a moment. Okay.
Yeah, just toss that over to him.
I will. All right. Thank you very much. And great report. I mean, very thorough. I wish all reports could be just like this. It's really good reading.
I'm actually glad all reports aren't like that, madam. I
Actually, I chopped this down probably about this, about half of it.
yeah, well, I was thinking about my wine budget. That was what it was. Thank you.
Long version next time.
Yeah. He'll sift through it for you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, code enforcement report. If we have any questions, please funnel them to Holly. We have no town treasurer's report. We've read Wayne's town engineer report. If we do have any questions, beginning with Councilwoman Bodine, I'll entertain those.
Yeah, sure. So you know it's coming, so we can discuss perhaps like a timeline or what the intentions are for the headworks at the wastewater treatment plant.
Josh and I met on site to review the concern that he has with the headworks. I certainly concur with him. We are working on a concept plan now to design graphically what we think needs to happen out there to improve the headwork situation and write a written spec type report to put out an RFP for design. We have, if we're going to go for grant funding, we have to have 3 competitive bids to qualify for state bid grants. So that's what we're working on now is the graphic concept sketch and a performance spec for that RFP. Once that'll be finished by the end of September, we'll get Josh to review it, Jay to review it, Holly to review it, and then we'll put it out for a bid for engineering design.
And we are talking about like a design. We're not just looking at improving what currently exists, but if you will, rebuilding it, right?
Rebuilding the headworks, correct, and expanding the capacity.
What would we do while that building is occurring? I mean, the headworks are extremely important. I'm just wondering, is there a bypass that we use or something else?
Yes, there will be a bypass built into the design.
Needless to say, this would be a shared expense with our partners, right? And
That's correct.
not as much as ENR, but I would expect that this would be quite an expense.
I agree with you. Yes, it would be.
Okay, my goal in this, just so it's known, is we've worked really hard to like make our general fund bond free. Hopefully soon we can make our other funds bond free, no debt. And so I look forward to not having to incur debt on this. So hopefully we can afford it through the funds that we have in town.
Yeah, and I think that's the purpose behind the bidding, so we can go for grants.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then I have one other topic area.
Sure.
And that's on the, it's kind of like coastal resiliency and the flood mapping. First of all, thank you for updating the maps on the town website. I encourage everyone to look at those. They're really quite illuminating. And once again, I'd just like to reiterate the problems that they have down on 27th Street. Starting about 15 years ago when they did the streetscape, they put the curbs in. It made street stormwater runoff, just making the situation even worse down there. Okay, at the very end, and I know that there's an outlet pipe, but it's concreted off.
Yep.
It was sort of like, blocked. But I'd always like, and I'll encourage you to keep that on your radar as you go through these surveys and so forth, and anything we can do to encourage that to happen, that'd be great.
We'll do it.
Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Sure.
Councilman.
A couple of things. I echo what Councilwoman Bodine said. The maps are illuminating is one word for it. Halloween's coming up, so maybe we can come up with another one. But I thought that was very interesting. One thing I didn't notice on here was mention of the project for the pipe. And I was just curious what the status of that was.
Can you say the project for the pipe under Kellums?
No, it's not the Heritage. It's the pipe running, the main pipe running under the field to change the, yeah.
It is on here. So if you look at the bottom of Kellums Field, it says new storm drain outfall under field designed to create positive drainage off the
okay.
complete. Processing MDE and U.S. Army Corps of Engineer permits. The on-site meeting occurred in early August, and they are now processing the permit.
Okay. I guess I will leave that alone. I'm we'll talk more about some of the plans. I know that Holly also had some notes about playground and some stuff there. So I think I'll hold off on that for now. The only other thing I'd start on here was the heritage punch list. We've already covered that. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman.
Just my usual question, 261 sidewalks, any update on a schedule when they're actually going to move forward?
Yes. I have completed the draft of the 100% RFP. It was sent to Holly Court. She's out this week for her review. She and I will review next week. I think we might ask Todd to review as well, and then we can get that approved by the state.
Good. I noticed also under Josh's report on the treatment plant UV protection RFP, we put it out once and we got no bids, and we're going to put it out again. Are we going to do something to try to get more interest in that project?
It is out right now. Holly called some contacts. McCrone, who was the subcontractor under me, called some contacts, as did I. I understand we're getting more interest than we did last time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Nothing more.
Very well. Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Wayne.
Good.
Yes, I have a few questions. I think this was answered already. I saw where under the 261 sidewalks, which were our 6th year on development of those plans, it says SHA final 30% design review is in progress. Is that, that's past us, right? We're 100%. You've got this MOU in place. It's sort of a little
I think that reference that I saw in the town administrator's report is in reference to filing out the invoicing for that. Yes, the design, 30% design is done, and we are moving on to 100%.
You're working on this other 70% of that design.
Correct.
Okay. What's prognosis for that ETA? How long is that going to take?
I expect that the RFP will be put out in October. We'll likely accept bids end of October and into November. We need to get SHA approval of the RFP before we send it out.
Hmm.
That's what's really where we're at, is final review and solicitation.
Okay. It's not on your report, but I wanted to ask you. I know that you're involved. 261 connection along the east side of 261 between the firehouse and the Seagate. I guess you're working on a feasibility study for that.
Yes.
6 to 9 months for a feasibility study, so we can understand if we can do what we want to do on that stretch.
The concept itself will be done much faster than that. As you can see, what's happening with MDE and the core with the pipe under Kellums Field, it'll also incorporate their comments and their review. I don't expect it to take that long, but it could. As part of that concept, we will be coordinating with those agencies and getting them out on the site and doing a field walk to basically direct and determine what they can support.
Right, I
The
think
best route.
a part of that goes through, there's some private property, some guy there over there at the Horizons, I think, and you have to approach him. Part of that, right? Yeah, I just, as the years go by, I'm just uncomfortable with the route that this over here is taken, and over here, I'm just a little fearful. I know there's processes with the state and stuff, and we get kind of stuck with some of that. Hate to be talking about this in 6 years, and we're still talking about design over there. That's just, we decide we want to do something, we can get something done. I don't know. We're doing the best we can there. I was wondering on the Kellums Field, a couple comments there. Is it possible that Holly could give us a copy of the permit for the MDE for that pipe that you all are working on?
I imagine we can, yes.
And that you're still working on the permit, haven't done any work. Is that something, I can't remember, Jay, is that the town going to do that themselves? You're going to bid that out?
It has to go out to bid, but we already have some contractors and I did some looking on the material. So, but due to the estimated price is going to have to go out to bid for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In the note, I know we're waiting on the next meeting for the Kellums Field there, but this is a draft. I know that you had provided, which your first blush draft of the Kellums over there. And I certainly was excited to see some of the features in there. But it says your note here is a draft of phase 1 of the master plan for the Kellums. And this might be something for a meeting, more Kellums meeting. But it seems to me like we were trying to develop a whole concept over there. And then maybe from there, we can develop phases from that, not just, okay, well, over here, we'll do that. We'll focus on that, maybe get that done, and then kind of jump over here and figure something out over there. Certainly in my mind, I'm thinking comprehensively, kind of what we're looking at doing there. So I know we're looking forward to the next public meeting on that. Okay. I think that was it. Thanks.
No additional questions. Thanks.
Councilwoman, thank you.
No additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have the deputy's report. We've read Sergeant Swarter's report, beginning with Councilwoman Hartman. If we have any questions, I'll start there.
I have no questions. Thank you for your service.
I have no questions on the report. I did want to just follow up on a discussion that we had earlier, and I was hoping you could give us just kind of a summary of where you are and what your plans are. And this is in reference to observations, I guess, of increased speeding on C Street between Mears and 17th that has been reported by folks in the HOA there.
Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to, the next 2 weekends on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to do one speed enforcement in the morning and one speed enforcement in the evening for 2 weekends. We're going to compile the information and we're going to reconvene and see what we have as far as time frames and speeding, what speeds we have, and see what we can do to tackle the problem. And that will probably happen mid-October.
Yeah, and if I can just, follow up and then, when we get that data, we're going to sit down. I believe, the councilman and, you and I are going to sit down and we're going to look at it and then see what we need to do moving forward. That's just to let I just want to let the people in Chesapeake Station know that it's just not going to die at that. It's that particular block on C Street it's unique in that it's the only block or street right there in the town that is directly affected by what is probably the largest business in Calvert County. And, whether it's people going to there or from there, employees, we have a pretty good idea that it's not out of towners because they go up and take a right and go up there. But yeah, so, given that it's unique and it's something that we're going to, stay on top of. So I want Keith and, just let folks know that it's going to stay on the front burner, so, and thank you.
This study will give us during the week, which will be a Friday, morning and evening, morning rush hour, evening rush hour, see if we have traffic there, and also give us 2 weekend days, Saturday and Sunday, morning and evening, to try to compile both sides of the coin, workers or tourists or transients, whatever. So that'll give us more time.
Yeah, we're trying to get a handle on what's going on before we just jump to conclusions.
Do 2 weekends, we can get a big snapshot.
We'll know more. Okay. Well, thank you there. Thank you, sir. And
Yeah, thank
Councilman
you.
Morris, do you have any questions of the sergeant?
No questions. Feel mighty safe here in Chesapeake Beach. Probably can't comment enough on how much we appreciate our first responders in town. Can't ask you enough to share that sentiment with your colleagues and to let them know how much we care about them and please be safe. Thank you.
I'll interject if you don't mind. I want to go ahead and just publicly, applaud you guys as well as the other counties that came out and helped us when we had that situation up in Richfield Station. Because, I visited the site a few times and I got to tell you, the neighbors were so much applauding the efforts of the Twin Beach deputy. I was all prepared to, get beat up because that's what happens to mayors sometimes. You just gotta, bite the bullet. No, they were just in total, applause of, what you guys did and the operation, and they were impressed and happy. And I really think I left that with saying and I kept hearing, we feel pretty safe. Thank you, sir. That's what I was hearing. So I'm saying to you, I'll echo Councilman Morris. We feel pretty safe. Thank you, sir. So I'll leave it at that. Councilman.
Thank you. I noticed in the report for July, fairly, 5 DWIs. That seems to be a jump. Was that just increased surveillance or any idea?
I just think it was because of the season. It's
Yeah.
Time of the year.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably going to tick off because
Yeah.
we get colder out.
Okay.
No specific reason why.
Okay. Good.
Increase patrols and
Well, it's good.
going out there and doing their thing.
That's right. That's what you got to do. Thank you. Stay safe.
Well, Larry, I can give you one of those. An intoxicated a patron struck a deputy's vehicle, so I'm thinking he didn't have a chance of getting
Made it
away.
easy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councilman.
I don't have any questions on the report. I have two specific questions about incidents that I observed. And I before I even ask them, I want to be very clear that I echo my colleagues in the work that you guys are doing. I'm just looking for a little bit of information because I was surprised to see this. The first one was actually last night. There were, I don't think I'm exaggerating if I say there were 4 deputy cars with lights going right out in front of the fire station, and 1 passenger car, doors open, 4 doors open, hatch back up. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little, maybe that'll be on your report next month, but I'd like to maybe know something about that sooner if it's possible.
Just describing the scene that you're describing, it sounds like somebody had a traffic stop and they probably had some probable cause to search the vehicle. And we like to have more officers than we do people. So that's why you see, usually you see a lot of officers because we have 3 people, we want to have 4 officers. We have 2, we like to have 3 or 4. We always want to have more than what we need.
So nothing specific jumps out like, oh yeah, this was it was just a part of the procedure, additional
Without knowing
deputies on
specific,
site.
It sounds like just a traffic stop, probably the probable cause, and they search the vehicle, and then once you have probable cause to search the vehicle, you can search the trunk and everything.
Okay,
That's probably what it was.
thanks.
Without
I'll
knowing-
keep my eye. No need to do anything other than I'll keep my eye out. I'll be curious to see on the next report if that gets mentioned. If not, then it's fine. The other thing I noticed, quite interesting, relevant to what Councilman Jaworski said, I was coming home fairly late on a weeknight, so the Thursday night before Labor Day, and there was a DUI checkpoint coming out of Chesapeake Beach. I have never seen that. I was on the other side of the road. I certainly, support. I mean, you guys know you're making the decisions to do all the right things to keep us safe. But I'm curious if that's a pattern you expect to repeat. Was that something in response to businesses in town and people coming out of town? Just curious, but know more about that.
Usually with DUI checkpoints, our special services unit sets those up, and they choose the locations based on DUIs within those locations. Like 5 DUIs on that one report, that might throw a red flag up, and that might cause them to say, okay, well, let's go do another checkpoint there. And they use checkpoints. Surprisingly, they don't use checkpoints to find drunk drivers. They use checkpoints for education purposes and to try to deter drunk drivers. That's why we put it out. Hey, we're having a checkpoint here at this location. Well, that might cause that person at that bar to say, there's a checkpoint tonight. Let me call somebody to come give me a ride home. So it's more of an educational purpose, not for incarceration purpose. So with that report, having those 5 DUIs, that might cause them to throw a red flag up and cause, hey, let's go up here and do another checkpoint to try to get some more education out there, to try to make more contacts with more citizens, and let them know, hey, look, we're out here, stop doing it. So,
Wow, that's interesting. I was not aware of that. So that's educational for me.
DUIs are not for lockups; they are for education. That's why we hand pamphlets out.
Interesting. All I can say about both those is, you guys know your business, so keep up the good work. I appreciate it. Thank you.
If you don't mind, Councilwoman, it just reminds me of years going back, right when smartphones first came out, and I was younger then, and I remember frequenting a local establishment in the evening, and when the the patrons would, find out about a, checkpoint. It was, I'm going to, text mail everybody so they'll look at it. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's going to last real long, right? You don't think the cops got smartphones?
Right.
So they're all text mailing around. You'll never get us, And so it was more of a rotating. And I do actually, I really do applaud when we changed from that, let's capture the people patronizing the local establishments to, let's educate them, and I think that goes a long way. So I do, and that's been going on for quite some time now, right? Yeah. Okay. So I do thank you, and I'll turn to the good councilwoman.
Yes, I also want to thank you and thank all the officers for their service. We really do feel safe here, and that's a wonderful feeling when you go to sleep at night. So thank you. No questions.
Thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mr.
Yeah, I
Councilman
wanted to
Marshall,
follow up with something, and there's something that I learned recently about Holly and the Twin Beach Patrol here. And I don't know if all my colleagues are aware. I know the mayor's certainly probably aware, and I'm sure he's aware. They had a conversation with Holly, I don't know, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were talking about some things over the 4th of July weekend. And she was elaborating on what she was doing in preparations that the town was making for the fireworks. In the meetings that they had with the Twin Beach, coordinating with the Twin Beach, specifically coordinating with the Twin Beach Patrol on where they were going to be, things that were going to happen, just trying to foresee and forecast the best locations and things like that. And I'm sure that's not limited to the July 4th weekend. And I shouldn't be surprised. Certainly kudos to you, and she's not here tonight, but of all the things that Holly's involved in and is the dynamic of an administrator as she is, I was just, wow. She's there also coordinating the deputies and, where they're going to be and trying to make sure that where the town's in the best position that way, for preparation for that holiday. And I've just, there's a lot of thanks to go around.
Which that's not when counting when she's on the barge counting the fireworks to make sure we make sure we got our good stuff.
Just, wow. Okay. Very good. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think, if one good thing came out of, COVID, it's public awareness and acceptance of safety. I think we really now appreciate a safe fireworks event that we have, even if it's just our water park or maybe the beach, indoor beach, people are appreciating, they want to be safe. They really realize that now. So if you're looking for something good to come out of that pandemic, maybe that's it. So thank you, sir. Next, North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. As we know, if you have any issues, please funnel them to Larry. But there is one thing I wanted to mention. When I put my suit coat on to come to here, and this may be a guy thing, I just happened to reach into here and, you pull out a obituary card, from Roush's probably, and I look at it and then I keep them because it helps me to, remember whoever I lost, and it's actually Patricia Ann Osborne, May 26th of 2018, which is, 4 years ago, 4.5 years that, we lost a volunteer firefighter in the line of duty. And I don't think, and I'm going to keep it here and hold it right by my heart, because I don't think that you can ever, pay tribute enough to that. Our first responders, we love them all. We appreciate them all, but, volunteer, go out there. We're all practically volunteer here too, but we're not out there risking our life, so anyhow, given that I pulled this out about an hour ago, I thought that the Lord was telling me maybe it's time to just mention Pat's name, and I did. So thank you, Pat.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add one thing?
Please do, sir.
To the fire department report.
Mhm.
Just for the record, the firehouse is going to be holding an open house on Sunday, October 2nd from 10 to 2. There'll be displays of equipment and all kinds of things for kids to get engaged with. So come on out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once a month.
That's great. That's great. Mayor's report. I'm happy to report another successful summer at the water park. We received many, many compliments, accolades from our citizens just regarding their pleasant experience that was fun and safe all summer. It could very well have been the most enjoyable, season that we've ever had, and it's been a good summer. It's been a fun summer for everybody to get out, and everybody's got their, their shots and all that stuff. So people felt better, and this fall we have the Taste of the Beaches. We have Halloween events to look forward to. New restaurant Baya just opened up. I think last night was their first public soft opening. I saw some pictures. It looks fabulous. From what I can hear, the food's great. It looks beautiful. I certainly can't wait to go myself, and I encourage everybody in town to support this local business. And I'll end with a sort of a public service announcement. As we move into fall and winter, anticipating, getting back to normal, if you will, celebrating Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas with family and friends, there is a very important component for all of us to stay healthy and keep healthy. And that is to strongly consider getting the new bivalent booster shot that is just becoming available now. I can say for the record, I've made an appointment. I can't wait to get that jab in my arm. And I think, doing this along with the annual flu shot are the best measures that we can really take to have an enjoyable winter, everybody wants to get back to normal. Well, guess what? Being happy and healthy is the way to be normal. And so I strongly encourage everybody to, get your shots and keep healthy. On that note, thank you very much. Next, planning and zoning. I believe Cindy has submitted a report. If we do have any questions, please send them to Holly, and she'll funnel that over. Board of Appeals, there was a hearing on my birthday last Thursday. Okay. And I believe everything went smooth. That's what I understand. CBOX, we've got a report from Sue Alexander. God bless her soul. She stepped right into, John's job. And, if you know Sue, you love Sue. So I really do appreciate that. Climate Change Advisory Group.
Thank you.
Councilman.
First, I'd like to apologize to Sharon. This is going to be a fairly lengthy report. And the reason why I did not submit it in writing is most of this happened this week. So I
You're
apologize.
apologizing because it's lengthy or because you didn't give her a
I
copy?
didn't get it in writing to her.
Okay, all
She's
right.
going to have to transcribe all this.
So you're apologizing to us because it's lengthy.
Yeah. I'm not apologizing. Anyway, moving on. So on this past Monday, September 12th, I participated in a virtual meeting of the Maryland Climate Leadership Academy Town Hall, which is sponsored by the Maryland Climate Change Commission. Had 30 participants. We discussed the recently enacted Climate Solutions Now Act and various programs available to assist communities with implementing climate resiliency solutions and green infrastructure, which comes at a great time for our Twin Beaches. I was also invited to participate in another group called the Maryland Coalition of Counties and Cities for Climate Action, which goes by the acronym MC4A. So I'm waiting to learn more about that. And the next day, on Tuesday, I joined a virtual meeting of the North Beach Stormwater Flood Mitigation Committee. Both towns have agreed to keep each other informed of our respective activities. The North Beach Committee was invited to a recent meeting of our Chesapeake Beach Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee, which was held on Thursday, September 1st. During that meeting of our Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee, we discussed the status of various ongoing efforts. A lot of that detail was contained in the Town Operations Manager report and the Town Administrator's report, so you can go there for some details. But just quickly, the current schedule of activities on our coastal resiliency efforts. The flood risk assessment is completed. We talked about the maps. We're going to begin to document or list consequences of future flooding, and that's scheduled completion this month. An assessment of infrastructure resiliency in September to October. Assessment of solutions and strategies, October to January. Recommendations, funding, and budgeting, January to March. And then project completion and approval of the plan is targeted for June 30th. The Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee will be at the Taste of Beaches, as will the North Beach Stormwater Mitigation Committee, so stop by and say hi. On Monday, September 12th, Public Works Director Jay Berry and I met with representatives of Maryland DOT and the State Highway and their consultants to review the flooding that occurred along Bayside Road, Route 261, during the unnamed storm at the end of October. This is in the area of the marsh area there between Horizons and Seagate. This visit resulted from a discussion I had with Maryland DOT and State Highway at the Maryland Municipal League Conference several months ago. DOT and SHA promised to keep the town posted on the progress of the study. There wasn't a whole lot of detailed discussion of what they're going to do, but we've got their phone numbers now. Jay and I stressed the public safety nature of this issue since the fire department was cut off from responding to calls north of the firehouse. I'll ask Co-Chair Keith, anything to add?
No, I don't. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate all the work that you put into this.
See where you are, Larry, EDC?
Also on Monday, September 12th, we're now in economic development. Attended the virtual meeting of the Calvert County Economic Development Authority. Discussed various vacancies on the authority and steps being taken to fill them. Discussed issues associated with the Calvert County Industrial Park. That's the one that's located along 231 Halloween Point Road, and steps being taken to address them. We discussed on the calendar in the state is the Maryland Economic Development Week scheduled for October 24th to 28th, and what the county will do to support that activity. Then on Wednesday, attended meeting of the Calvert County Economic Development Advisory Commission, which was held in their new offices in Prince Frederick. We had a presentation by Jenny Plummer-Welker, who's with the County Department of Planning and Zoning. Jenny discussed the county's revised comprehensive plan and steps going forward to approve and implement the revised plan. I was struck by the similarities of the issues in that comprehensive plan and the issues that we're dealing with in our comprehensive plan. They're very, very similar. Jenny said that the revised comp plan has been forwarded to our town planning and zoning administrator, Mr. Jakubiak, and town administrator Holly Wall. I'll follow up with them for any review and comment. On another note, we talked a month or two ago about what's called the Bayways Crossing, possible ferry service on the bay. At that meeting, I was told that a feasibility study for that bay ferry has been approved to move forward. Now, what that means is that's just the very first step, just to look at whether a ferry service on the bay makes any sense. It will not, in that step, be looking at specific stops along the way. Meeting was held last night on the Naval Research Lab, Chesapeake Bay Division Restoration Advisory Board. I'm going to ask Co-Chair Mr. Morris to update us on that, and then I have one other item to add.
Okay, yeah, sure, Larry. The Restoration Advisory Board held meeting last night. It was online. It's open to the public. Some things that I underscored here, besides things moving really slow, they really had no new information for us. I know that they were working to organize some of the PFAS tests on site. I mean, that's been a recurring message since we first got involved in that. Busy with other things. These are some of the things that they mentioned. Now, I know Delegate Fisher was in attendance. I know he was the one that I think kind of initiated it and really helped to get this this thing moving with the Navy there. Of course, Larry was there. Was attended by a representative from MDE, who commented that the Maryland General Assembly summary report related to PFAS was due at the end of this year. That'll be something that I think a lot of people will be watching as far as the PFAS stuff. They commented there was an uptick in sampling marine life and the public water systems, that was gaining momentum in areas. The next Resident Advisory Board meeting date was announced for May 2023. We don't meet between. We really don't get much information in between these meetings. They mentioned that there was a lot of sampling going on. It's just, and actually they commented that the sampling is getting bogged down and slowing down because of the amount of sampling that they've been doing. I didn't really buy into that 100%, but that's more or less what was presented with us. It was last about an hour and a half, and I guess we'll be looking for our next update. Brad. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a follow-up?
Yes.
So I had a conversation. I actually had two conversations, but one that was particularly poignant at the volunteer party with a citizen who was concerned about PFAS and had a perception that this was all over the. I don't want to overstate it, but this person's perception was not in line with my perception, which is that this is something that is being very closely watched, that we're doing a lot of testing, that there is no threat to swimmers at Bayfront Park or people on paddle boards at this time, and we are watching this. And so I got a little bit defensive, for lack of a better term, that, we have folks on this committee reporting back. And I wanted to kind of clarify whether or not I'm accurate on that. And if I'm not, and that person is, aware of this meeting or follows up, I'd like to know if I gave the right information there, and if there's a way that we can have that information kept available for the public, so that if that happens again, I could say, go to the town website, this page, and you will see the testing results or the reports coming in.
Well, I can take that. I think one, in a city, first I could say, and I want to applaud the people like Jay in the town, is that when the whole PFAS thing hit the fan, we were on top of it. We were ahead of everywhere. And as some of you know, I also sit on the critical area board, and things are coming up in different projects with that long after Chesapeake Beach was on top of this. Now, so any mention of PFAS will be all over the state. You'll hear somebody mention it there, and people will read it and they will be alarmed. Okay. You were right, Charlie. We have been staying on top of this. We put out the words. We understand that people will get over alarmed or they hear something and they'll ask a question. I believe it's important. And you feel a question like that. I think it's great that you were there and they feel that you're open enough to ask that question. And I think the answer, okay, I'm being long here, is to basically, if you can, Sharon, remind me to speak to Holly about that. It might be high time that we put out some recent information to make people feel safe, So that's the whole thing sometimes about being visible and approachable as an elected official. It's one of the most important things, that people don't mind asking you that question, and we'll do that. We will do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could support your comment and your sentiments on that right now. I know that the slideshow that they used for that presentation is made available to us, and I don't know why we couldn't necessarily make that available somehow.
And there is a website for NRL CBD that those slides are posted on as well. We can share that information.
Yeah.
Share
We'll
the website or something,
I think we all feel pretty confident that if we give this task to Holly, that it'll be taken care of in fine fashion.
a lot of eyes on it.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Morrison, I can help with that. I just had one other thing to add.
Yes, sir.
And I know you'll be surprised that I'm going to talk about Taste the Beaches. Hopefully everyone in this room is aware that the towns of Chesapeake Beach and North Beach are going to be hosting Taste the Beaches day after tomorrow, Saturday. There's a lot of detail in the town operations manager report if you want to go to that, but just a couple highlights. One is we are already in what we're calling kickoff week, where a number of our local restaurants are offering special menus for food to highlight sort of the activities leading up to Taste the Beaches. That includes Abner's, the Rod and Reel Restaurant, the Boardwalk Cafe, the Bacchus 1936 Restaurant. So there's specials offered there. Town staff has just done an incredible job on signing vendors up. We've got 9 food and beverage vendors, 18 community organizations, including many of our town committees are going to be there. 17 art and boutique vendors. We have the Little Tots Playground and Fishmobile. Entertainment all day by Big Money Band and Kenny Holmes. Taste the Beaches committee selected this year the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse, CASA, as our selected nonprofit. And we've asked all of the vendors to donate things to a raffle. People will be walking around during the event from 1 to 5 selling raffle tickets, and 100% of the proceeds from those raffles will go to CASA. So it's 1 to 5 Saturday. Much appreciation to Mayor Mahoney, who was in charge of organizing the fabulous weather that we're going to have. Thank you.
Up all night.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I have one comment for the EDC.
Okay, don't say you're not going to Taste of the Beaches.
No, no. Be there all day.
Yes.
Rail trails. So I have something for y'all. You can take it, pass it to Larry.
Mhm.
They're talking about a rail trail that goes across the United States, which they're still building. And they're estimating something in the neighborhood of $230 million a year, generated through this trail. It's a huge trail. So, we get that. But I will continue to bring this up as I see little articles about how much money it makes. These things with people coming through. And I can tell you, my husband and I are planning a trip from Natchez, Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee. We'll spend several $1,000s over, 11 days biking through there and staying at hotels.
I'll bring it up with the
going to
county
restaurants. But
EDA.
there's so much we could connect here. I think it would be great.
Thank you. Dr. Bodine, Green Team?
Sure. Just quite a few things. I'll try to go through them a little bit quick. First of all, on Saturday, October 1st, 9 to 12 is Paddle and Pathway Pickup. This is one of our biannual pickups and also one of our biannual events in collaboration with the Northeast Community Center and Calvert County Parks and Rec. So with this Paddle and Pathway Pickup, the idea is that, of course, we clean up the town, but we also invite you to bring your kayak or canoe, launch it, and help with that pickup. We'll have a boat on the creek that will collect the trash and garbage bags and such from the kayaks and canoeists. So that would be October 1st. On Monday, October 3rd, you may have noticed that the north side of Bayfront Park has been landscaped, or the grass, the soil prepared, and that will be planted in cooperation with the Green Team on October 3rd. And once we do some, the town does some, or maybe it's state, excuse me, water management mitigation on the north side, on the south side of Bayfront Park. That part will be planted also once that water mitigation is taken care of. Speaking of Northeast Community Center and Calvert County Parks and Rec collaboration, we've set our second talk for March of this year. More information will be coming. It'll be Carrie Wexted, and she'll be speaking March 4th on invasives, just like we did last year when we had the talk on native bees. This one will be at the Northeast Community Center also, and so we're working in collaboration with them. We just completed a inventory. We have some wonderfully active volunteers, and they went out and inventoried the town. And specifically on town property, they inventoried invasive species, partially in support of this upcoming talk. And so they also looked at where we may want to plant future gardens. Speaking of planting future gardens, much like we have the pollinator garden, which was actually a Seabox effort, and the gardens on 17th Street, we're looking at planting some more also. And we've been working to provide input into an up and coming landscape contract that will be going out through an RFP. So we're doing input there also. And then I wanted to mention our next meeting, which is September 22nd, but I also wanted to mention something else. You may remember that we also did a proclamation regarding Tree City USA. And so this last meeting for the Green Team, we had Brian Stupak with the Maryland Forest Service, who spoke to us about the Tree City USA program. And the Forest Service actually has a program called Tree Solutions Now, which has been funded at $25 million over a 10-year time frame, with a goal of planting 5 million trees in Maryland And they can only count plants and trees that are planted over and above the Forest Service normal plantings. And we have opportunities to apply for some of this funding for any sort of trees that we wish to purchase, maintain, plant, and so forth. So it's all in the report. I'd encourage you to read it. And once again, Paddle and Pathway Pickup, our biannual clean up the town, is Saturday, October 1st, 9 to 12. And thank you.
Thank you. Kellam's Revitalization Committee, KRC, Councilman Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're looking forward to the next public meeting on reviewing and discussing Wayne's First Blush plan is put together. So I think we're good for Holly to put together the next meeting there. Looking for the public to be included in that and have stuff on the screen, I presume, and we'll kind of talk about stuff there. I had redlined your, I guess I don't know how long ago that was now, about a month and a half ago. I kind of redlined your First Blush thing, kind of shared it with Charlie and Peggy and whited out some stuff. And I mean, nothing that you had there already. I mean, there's just some open spaces in there that we can make, good use of. I know I had forwarded that to Holly. I don't know if she had shared that with you at all, but we're certainly looking forward to getting together again on that. I mean, there's some exciting discussions there that I should be excited about. All that I have, though.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman.
Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I just want to say one thing. I want to make sure this is also very, very clear, publicly clear. So we have a meeting coming up, I forget the exact date, to talk about some of these more broad ideas that I have partly coming out of the work that we had done with the Walkability Committee. I want to make sure that it's very clear that this is not in any way an indictment of the work that you and your team have already done. It's fantastic. And in fact, it may be that we cannot, I don't even want to say improve upon it. I just want to check a few boxes on some of the just real reimagining that K&K did for us with Walkability, things I promise you we never would have thought of. And so just want to make sure that that's clear. And the work that you guys have already done is outstanding.
Well, I appreciate that. That's exactly what we're looking for, is your comments and your input. So I appreciate that. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Twin Beaches Opioid Abuse Awareness Coalition, Councilman Pardick.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to start by thanking all of our committee members and collaborators who helped organize and have our Glow Vigil on Wednesday, August 31st. And so, and of course, thank all of our speakers, which included Mayor Mahoney, Mayor Benton, Lauren Hunt, Erica Clark, and Joe Davis. Lauren Hunt is a Calvert County mom who lost her son to an overdose. Erica Clark, peer recovery specialist, who shared her personal experiences. And Joe Davis is the executive director of the Arts Council of Calvert County, and he announced a sculpture, memorial sculpture. It is kind of a competition, but it's not. But it's just open to artists to submit, and they will be judged, and the top 3 will be placed in. One in North Beach, one here in Chesapeake Beach, and one in Solomons, to memorialize, the impact that the opioid crisis has had on our communities and the families that live here. And so the actual, well, let me talk about that in a minute, a little bit more. But so the groups that were involved, couple more people, sorry about that. Sandy Mattingly also spoke. She did the memorial reading of the names. And all I can say is the whole event, I think, was very moving. We had over 200 people there. A lot of tears, a lot of, I think, catharsis for some folks. And then there was also the memorial exhibit, the Lost Souls exhibit at the Sunrise Gardens that took place after those talks, presentations. And then I want to thank the Calvert Alliance Against Substance Abuse, the Calvert County Behavioral Health, Calvert County Mobile Crisis Team, and the Emmanuel Church Celebrate Recovery as organizations and collaborators who were also there to provide resources, I would say, to anyone, information and resources to anyone who wanted it about prevention and recovery resources here in the county. So I just want to thank them all very much for that, because that was held in conjunction with the Light Up Calvert in recognition of International Overdose Awareness Day. And just to give you an idea of how much time was put into that, there were 11 days that folks went out and were giving out these purple light bulbs that CASA had purchased. So they'd purchased over 1,200 purple light bulbs to give out to people, and volunteers spent 46 hours out there on the streets in various locations in Calvert County. And we did that here in front of the town hall. We did it in North Beach, are the two places locally that we did it, as well as Sneed's Ace Hardware. And so anyway, a lot of people contributed to this, and I just wanted to thank them all for that. And moving on to the Overdose Awareness Sculpture Project. So that was announced. We're still working on all the details and the timeline. We're going to publish the call for artists no later than August 31st. And then we're planning to ask for submissions of proposals by January 15th. They'll be judging within 2 weeks after the submission on those proposals, and the artists will be notified, if they can enter the contest. And then they'll be given a manufacturing time frame. They'll get about 5 months to create this sculpture. And then there'll be the delivery of the sculpture by June 30th, and then the installation and dedication of those sculptures on August 31st of 2023. So just to kind of give you an idea, so we'll be holding another, International Overdose Awareness Day event, and where we'll be presenting the sculptures, so kind of the winning sculptures from that event. So, all right. And so that's about all I have there. Just to say, we are going to have a table at Taste the Beaches as well.
That'd be great. Yes. Thank you, sir. Councilman Fink, Walkable Community Advisory Group.
So I'd like to open my report with a request that we no longer use the alphabet as the determining order of reports.
Duly noted. Actually, we don't, because we start with P. But that's okay, Charlie.
After that, though. So we don't have we don't have a lot to report. I want to just sort of say that and I know my committee members feel the same way. We are frustrated at the pace of projects. We have a lot of projects on which we are waiting for other people. 261 is kind of an example of that writ large. We're talking about doing a feasibility study. The reason we're undertaking and funding that feasibility study is because State Highway kind of kicked it back to us in our first iteration at that. And one of my questions for Holly in her report was to make sure that the artifacts from that report are what State Highway will require for the feasibility study to take that to the next step, because that's part of what was motivating that. So so we understand that, and what we also understand is the fault does not lie with anyone within our staff. One other note I want to make regarding the document that Councilwoman Hartman passed around. We have an actual mention of this in the walkability feasibility study that was done with RK&K, and they talk about the financial benefits of bike and hike trails through towns. I think that that study now is 2 years old, and I think people are still. I think that's grown. If anything else. So it's something for us and the county to think that's all I have. Peggy, you may have something additional to add.
No, I have nothing to add to that. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you. Okay, no unfinished business, new business. Number one, I'm going to just change this number one just a little bit. And then if I can get a motion and a second, I'll ask Jay to explain, and then we can ask Jay the appropriate questions. So what I really need is a motion to approve the purchase of a replacement clock on Route 260 from Electric Time in the amount of $16,395 from the FY23 capital improvements line item of the general fund. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Okay. I will, Jay, I'll let you explain what's going on.
Sure. And I met with Holly last week and prepared this agenda for the council and mayor tonight. And in hindsight, looking at it earlier this week and today, finally, the first clock was going to be almost 4 foot shorter than the one that's on site. And to be honest, there's nothing out there but 4 planners. And I thought, to be honest, that we'll do that because we have to raise it up a little bit anyway. The difference would have been 3'9". In hindsight, I've changed. If you look at the difference, it's option 2, and this will be 9 inches. There's no page numbers here, but if you look at the first schematic in your agenda packet. So I was looking at the first one. If you see it, it's this one, and it was 10 foot. If you see the total height, it's 10 foot, 8 3/8. So if you flip 2 more pages, this is the one I'd like to move it to. It's more going to simulate the clock we have out there, height-wise, and it's going to be a little bit smaller footprint on the base, so we can use the original sonotube poured footer that's out there. So there is a price difference, but I'd actually asked to meet the mayor today and said, hey, I think we better go with this. It's going to match what we got. It's a little bit more money, but I'm happy with the clock. And so to give reference to the clock, what was there, of course, we talked about in the work session. This is kind of off the shelf. It's what we have at Mears Avenue. It's automated timer. So when the power goes out, it's going to come back online. And Larry, to follow up with your question, I did consult with them about solar possibilities. They do not have that option. It's just too much power to illuminate the clock at night at this time, even though this is LED technology. But I did want to mention that I followed up on that. So if there's any questions or anything.
Yeah, I just want to, just a couple of things. One, I want to, thank Jay for, even though we had a work session and discussed it, he could have said, okay, that's done. But he just spent every day thinking about it, driving by there, and just giving it thought. And I think Jay's right. I mean, I'm not sure in an effort to save $2,904, we want to go ahead and have a clock that'll be there for 20 years, 5 foot shorter than it is now. I think we'd hear enough about that we would wish we did, But so, yes, thank you, Jay. It is in budget, as I said. If we do have any questions, I'll begin with, Councilwoman Bodine, if you have any questions. Yeah, does it seem like a no-brainer to everybody?
We have Arabic numerals instead of Roman.
So that's if you turn to this other page, and I'm going to make it same as the Mears Avenue. It's actually going to be regular numbers. That I know it's shown with the Roman numerals.
There's options, yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be the same exact 1 to 12 that's on the Mears Avenue clock. They just didn't have that schematic to show on the
Yeah,
drawing.
no, that's fine. I know there was going to be a choice in there somewhere.
Yes.
Thank you, Jay.
And I'll share that once we finalize with them, they're going to send us a proof of an actual rendering of what it's going to look like with our town logo, and I'll share it with the council or share it with Holly so she can send it out. But just a heads up, it is, if we order today, we're looking at December for delivery.
Oh, Christmas.
I suspect you're going to be ordering it first thing in the morning, but I don't want to jump ahead of myself. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And it passed. Jay, you know what you're doing first thing in the morning.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Next, town council to consider authorizing the town administrator to make the necessary repairs to the water tower pump in the amount not to exceed $60,000 from the utility fund water tower line item of the FY23 budget. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Town council to consider authorizing the town administrator to move forward to make the necessary purchase of a multi-purpose vehicle in the amount not to exceed $105,000 for a John Deere 310 SL backhoe and loader from the general fund capital improvements line item.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have
I
it?
have a question.
Yeah, please.
On the trade-in, is it worthwhile to trade in? Would you get any better use by keeping it, or is it just too expensive to keep?
It's honestly been kind of offline for a while. We just use it around our shop, and it's almost 30 years old now too. So I'll be honest, I'm happy we're getting what we're getting for it as a trade-in.
Okay, we've already voted on this. Thank you. Town council to consider authorizing the mayor to amend the Evergreen disposal contract for trash services to provide Evergreen with a CPI increase effective September 1st of 2022. The CPI index is currently at 8.5% or $46,170.30 annually.
Move to approve with comment?
Certainly. Is there a second?
Second.
My comment is, for anyone that's really curious about this, I encourage you simply to listen to the work session. The discussion was really robust, really, informative. So if you're wondering what we're doing, just listen to the work session, and I believe all your questions will be answered. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any ayes have it. At this time, is there any public comment? Hearing none. Council lightning round. Councilwoman Bodine, I'll let you.
Yes, I'm sure Larry will mention, we look forward to being at Taste of the Beaches. And then again, I encourage everyone to join in cleaning up our lovely town at Paddle and Pathway Pickup. You don't have to have a canoe or kayak. We have garbage picker-uppers and all that sort of thing. So come on out and help us clean up the town. Thank you.
Very well.
Just a couple quick items. First of all, Taste of Beaches agenda. I had made my note on the operations manager, but I really kudos goes to everyone. That's a loaded agenda with a loaded list of vendors, and that's kind of impressive. I know that's just one. Sorry. Okay, thanks. So that's number one. Number two, I also encourage people to get the new booster. They are available at our local CVS. You can walk right up there and get jabbed. Number three, I wanted one other comment about the Firehouse Open House. I had an opportunity to do something similar with an EMT facility with a buddy of mine, not in Chesapeake Beach. And, they emphasize the opportunity to get citizens, especially kids, because, what elementary school kid doesn't want to crawl through a fire truck? But even adults, to help people to crystallize in people's minds some of what they get for their tax dollars, what they get in a civil society. And so opportunities like this have a real value that goes beyond just the, kids getting close to a fire truck, to really understand that these resources are here as part of the community. And so I encourage people to check that out. And I think it's something for us to think about, where we have opportunities to do that. There you go. Get close to the fire truck. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman.
Two things. One, mark on your calendars, Monday, September 19th is National Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr. And I may have mentioned this earlier. Taste the Beaches is Saturday. So come on out. And when you get this week's copy of the Calvert County Times,
Oh, yeah.
we're the front page. Taste the Beaches on the front page. So get your copy. Thank you.
Councilman, I think you're in out of the closet Jimmy Buffett fan. Nailed it. Councilman. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Okay, on that. Yeah, that's great advertisement. Glad to see that. Three things. I'm looking forward to advancing allocation of the ARPA funds. I'm also looking forward to receiving the text amendments. Sorry. Yeah, I'm looking forward to receiving the text amendments from the Planning and Zoning for the comp plans. We'll be under the gun. I do expect to have those in front of us the next time go around. And follow along behind my colleague Larry there. It looks to be great weather for Taste the Beaches. That's certainly a healthy component of a successful event. It's been a big circle on many calendars. And, getting through COVID and all of this closure that we've endured painfully, people have been thirsty and hungry to get out for quite a while, and they have been. So get out and enjoy the event. This is for all the folks listening online. I'm going to tune into this. Get out and enjoy the event. Maybe do some early holiday shopping. Be safe and enjoy yours town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, thank you. First, I'd like to thank our residents who chose to attend tonight. It's always great to see some faces in the gallery there. So that's wonderful. I appreciate that. And second, I just want to remind folks about the 988 suicide line that's out there. If you know somebody that's feeling down or needs some help, please share that with them, or call, if they're in your family, call them yourselves and get the help you need. And finally, I just look forward to seeing you all at Taste the Beaches. Thank you.
Very well. Councilwoman.
First, I wanted to say congratulations to the water park for their Exceeds audit. I think that's fantastic that they are that safe and can prove that safe, publicly. And second of all, prior to Taste of the Beaches on Saturday, there's going to be a ribbon cutting in North Beach at the Wetlands Overlook Park for an example rain garden that was put in by the watershed stewards. I'm a watershed steward. It was put in by the watershed stewards for a project to show how rain gardens help trap pollutants and get water off your lawn and into a space that it can be slowly absorbed into the ground. That's 10:30 Saturday morning at Wetlands Overlook Park. There'll be seat giveaways and talks by their mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See everybody on Saturday. Thank you. I'll shoot you a text.